having your staff become successful is really the only thing that's on my mind because
So go ahead and get started. Dan, you for all the agents that are on this, so happy to have you today. We have some new agents on our team. I also have my team on here with me, Faith, Amy, and Shay. So super excited to bring you guys a lot of great value today. Something I want to lead with for sure. Of course, the other day I was just watching one of your staff videos that you post on your YouTube channel that we'll definitely plug again at the end. But there's tons of valuable content in every single video that you do. They're all pretty topical. And then you also have videos that you're interviewing other agents, agency owners. So that's always beneficial. What really intrigued me and I thought was extremely timely for our conversation today was the guest speaker that you told your team about at the last meeting that they had to get prepared for. So, could you tell us a little bit about who is going to help all your team members achieve their goals for next year? The
yeah,
guest
sure, Shelley.
you've been on?
Sure. Well, thanks again for having me. With before I started even having a YouTube channel, really one of the first videos was with you. You actually show me what Zoom is about. When I first downloaded Zoom it was because we had a meeting with you that was recorded. So you have a big part in my journey in creating content and trying to help out other agents. So I really appreciate you forever for that. But yeah, the last meeting, it was the last results meeting for the year. So I wanted to talk to my team about setting up a special guest in a one-on-one meeting so they could talk to the person that's really going to help them achieve all their goals for next year.
Mhm.
So, before we meet this person, I just want to get their mindset right and make sure, they're going to be able to respect this person and, listen to this person and really value this person, and really be thankful for this person. And I told them before you meet them, make sure you go to the bathroom, make sure you look yourself in the mirror before this meeting because that's actually where you're going to meet that person.
Mhm.
You know,
Absolutely.
we're 100% accountable for what's going to happen next year, and we're the person that's going to help us accomplish our goals for next year. So let's make sure we listen to ourselves, believe in ourselves, respect ourselves, and love ourselves because no one else is really going to do it for us in this business and in any business really. So just want to let them know that we have full control over their fate in this business,
Mhm.
and hopefully that really helped them realize that they have control, which is a good news for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's, kind of the theme of today. I thought it was really important to talk about how your staff being successful is really what's going to translate, of course, into the total agency growth. And it's more of a bigger picture type of conversation. So, some of the people that we have on the call today, Dan, are some of my reserve agents that are getting ready to officially open their agency. I've also got some career agents that are 0 to 3 years in, of course, my full time agents. And then I also have some proteges that are currently working in an agency and then we'll go on to that reserve contract and then open up their agency. Staff success is what helps the agency grow. Absolutely. There is no question about it. I'm so excited to talk to you about your mindset and how you coach your team because you're obviously getting the results that you're looking for from those people. You're pouring a lot into them with along every step of the way. So I'll stop rambling, but some of the main things we'll talk about is like your onboarding process and how you get your training going for your team, how you're holding them accountable. And then honestly, my probably favorite piece of all of it is how you hold your team meetings and what specific metrics that you talk about with your team and why that's so important. As someone that used to work in agencies, I know that understanding the bigger picture and what the agency is going after is so helpful for the team member because you know what direction you're going. And if you're meant to be in that role and you are a salesperson and you are going to help the agency grow with new business or retention, then you have to be prepared and you have to have an agent that's able to do that for you. So For the agents that don't know you, Dan, can you give us a quick overview of who you are, how long you've owned your agency, how many staff you have, and the size of your agency?
Yeah, sure, Shelly. And again, I just love your energy and your passion you have for trying to help out your agents. And your intuition is spot on because the subject of it, I think I couldn't think of a better one. Staff success equals agency growth because that's really the secret.
Mhm.
You know, having your staff become successful is really the only thing that's on my mind because I know what that leads to. So I love it that you already know what's going to help them, and we're talking about this. But yeah, for me, I started um, i- Farmers Insurance in 2007. I was a call center agent at AAA 3 years prior to that, right after college. So I've been an agency owner for 14 years, and every um, year we've grown, and we're right now I'm at 14 employees, and we have a 13 million dollar book of business, and we're looking to grow. I think I added on about 4 staff members. We grew about 2 million this year. Um, so, really just thankful and very optimistic about the future of, Farmers Insurance, the direction the company's headed, the direction our agency is headed. So, really grateful and thankful for the opportunity that we have moving forward.
Yeah, that was actually a recent topic I think you posted a video about is understanding what the opportunity is in front of you. And it may have taken you a little bit longer to realize what opportunity is in front of you, but now that you understand, you can actually fuel that all back into your staff. And of course, that's helping the overall agency with your growth. I mean, 2 million in a year, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up too, Shelly, and for checking out my videos.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate, yeah, the that the feedback too. But really, I think that is something that I should touch on is because I think before I wasn't really understanding how big the opportunity was, and once I realized it, it really made me work a lot harder because I saw that, hey, if I could do so much more in this business, then I should be taking advantage of it. I
Mhm.
almost felt like I was disrespectful to the opportunity because of how, you know, my work ethic wasn't there. So once I really valued it and understood it, then I started adjusting my work ethic. And I think that's same thing goes for staff too, or in any of us.
Mhm.
Really, once we understand that, hey, this is such a great business, we can't sell out of the stuff we sell. It's recession proof, and we're helping people.
Mhm.
So it would be really almost stupid of us to not really go all out with it because it's like the opportunities there. Some people will kill to be able to become a farmer's insurance agent, be able to be appointed with them, be able to offer it and protect people and make a good living out of it and help out our staff's family. It's just it wouldn't be right for us to not, go all out and take full advantage. So once I understanding the opportunity and how big it is, and I even think that I still don't even understand how big it is because again, there's no limit on how much we're allowed to sell this stuff. It's not like other industries where what we sell is limited to the inventory.
Mhm.
There's so many people in this world. I mean, with 11,000 PIF, I did the numbers, but it's like 0.0000001% of like farmers' policies in California, and population is like of all the people who have cars. It's like we haven't even touched the surface of what's possible in this business. So I
Wow.
like to look at what the opportunity is, and once we kind of fully grasp that, then I think it adjusts our activity level.
Definitely. All right, let's dive into kind of the foundation of the topic, staff. So let's start with your thought. And I actually don't fully know this, so I'm excited. Sometimes I ask questions I already know the answer to, but for this one, what's your process on onboarding as far as someone that doesn't have any insurance sales experience? They're not licensed. What is your process in your agency for those unlicensed staff?
Yeah, for unlicensed staff, which is pretty much how everybody starts at our agency here, because it's very difficult to find licensed staff with experience.
Mhm.
That's really difficult to recruit for. So first of all, I interview them with the mindset of, hey, you're going to start from the bottom. but there's, again, we talked about an opportunity in this business, and you're going to, help us out with administrative secretarial work, very, very entry level. And, the pay kind of, correlates with that.
Mhm.
But there's opportunity here. So unlicensed staff, they're really, sometimes self-support, they'll fold envelopes, they'll mail out quotes, they'll do some data entry for, to get some lists ready. They'll, you know, one of them is getting coffee for us right now. Hey, can you please get this discount on? Please chat with farmers to get this discount on. Can you backdate this cancellation date? Really a lot of stuff that doesn't even require talking to a customer,
Mhm.
but they're here every day. The only expectation is to have good attitude and good activity. Those are only two things that we ask for them. And they're still going to help out the agency. And while they're doing that, they're learning every day because they're in an atmosphere where they hear other people closing business or talking to customers. So after a while, they're going to be able to be just in the environment. So they're going to be able to be ready to talk to clients. So that's the next step,
Mhm.
is doing customer service, really basic customer service, not even answering calls, but just something repetitive, such as like calling pending cancellation lists or following up on paperwork, something that they can become an expert in. Because when you pick up calls, the call could go so many different ways. So, hey, your job is to just get pending cancellation for return payments, really specific situations. So at least they get really good at that.
Mhm.
But again, at the same time, they're still listening to other people. We have an open office environment, so they could still listen. So we really like to start really, really, really basic level and really start having small goals and just build up their confidence, because one of the things I really don't want to do is hire somebody and expect them to do something that they're not comfortable in, they don't have confidence in, and it's not really realistic for them to be able to, accomplish.
Mhm.
Or so they hear somebody talking on the phone for a month, then they're gonna be like, okay, now I know, you kind of start seeing patterns of what type of calls happens, and then they become a customer service rep. And from there on, they're answering calls, so it's a real gradual progression.
Mhm.
Eventually they'll get their license. Once they get their license, that doesn't mean they're getting leads right away, because that's still just, you're just started getting, you just became a producer. So now you're trying to cross sell, which is a big part of our agency. We really want to cross sell our clients and offer them, the biggest thing that helps them out is a multi-policy discount with our company,
Mhm.
and then asking for referrals. And then, eventually, if you are proven that you're able to close business, then you might start getting leads. So it's a really long process. I try to lay down that career path so they understand what's next for them. So that way they never feel like there's no growth opportunities. They kind of know exactly what's going to happen next. They've seen other people go through it. Nobody takes any shortcuts. And, now I'm really blessed to have agents here. Five of them here, six of them here are been here over 6 years now. One of them over 9. So
Awesome.
that's really something that I take pride in, and I think that's really important when it comes to agency growth, is staff retention. Customer retention is something that everybody talks about as agency owners, but to be able to grow your team, we really can't. It would be a lot easier. And I'm so blessed, and that's why I treat them like diamonds.
Yeah,
Because they're so valuable. You know, I like to say treat your customers like gold, but your staff like diamonds. Because if you do that, they're gonna shine. They're gonna take care of your customers. They're gonna be able to close and gain new customers, and it makes our job as an agency owner so much better when you have skilled, experienced staff members.
absolutely. What is that typical timeline? Is that like 90 days going from doing unlicensed stuff to maybe starting to get your license, or maybe 6 months, a year, or does it just vary by the person?
Yeah, it really does vary. It varies by that person's ambition level. Sometimes it varies on the agency's situation too, like, hey, we need a late shift, so someone's going on maternity, so we have this spot open, so can you please study a little bit faster than you used to.
Mhm.
Kind of depends on their situation too, but um I would say on average it's probably about 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't really like to rush people. Some people, but if they don't get licensed, you can't really get to the next level. So most of the time, I have, out of the 14 that are here, 3 of them are unlicensed, but they're all studying right now.
Mhm.
but it really limits what you can do at this agency. And I almost, it's really difficult for them to even pick up calls because every call could be a cross-sell opportunity, so they have to transfer that out, and they still get something from it. But obviously, your level of wanting to cross-sell and ask for referrals is going to be a lot higher if you're licensed yourself. So they understand that, so they're all studying, but I'm not really that strict on, hey, you got to get it by this date or anything like that. Again, if you're still bringing good activity and good attitude, you're still helping us, the team, and we need support roles too at all times, and people with humble, attitudes that are here to just help us.
Yeah.
So it's important to have different roles, but I'm not really enforcing you got to get licensed by this date unless a specific agency need. So it
Mhm.
really varies by the situation my agency's in, and the situation the staff member, how fast they learn and how ambitious they are.
Yeah. I think something that you do really well is well, you do a lot of things really well, but one thing that I really have noticed is when you do your team meetings, you're really kind of giving, and I'm assuming maybe some of the unlicensed people may be sitting in those meetings. I'm not totally sure, but you're really just giving the bigger picture of what the agency is trying to do. Um, can you like explain that to an agent? Like how you explain that to your staff and really help them see that vision, um, because some don't know how to explain it, which is totally fine. But I'm just curious how you would do that.
Yeah, the bigger picture is so important to understand, but the way I try to explain it to them is, what's in it for them. So what's in it for them, they are obviously coming here for a reason, is to make a living, is to make money. So I try to let them understand the bigger picture by saying, hey, if we do well, then you're going to make more money. We have the potential to make more money, which is kind of the reason we're all here together in this office here. So I kind of break it down really simple, that if we don't do well, if a customer cancels, if you have a bad attitude and a customer cancels, then that's less money for me. The less money I have, then that's less money for everybody. And it's just, you know, I think looking at it that way, maybe it's too simple, but hey, we're here to make money, right? So we need more customers. We need to keep them happy, and that is really the big picture. Is it's a big pie that we have, and it gets split into different ways for different percentages for each staff member. But the bigger the pie gets, then we all win. So I think it's really important for them to understand, because not everything could be compensated. Like if you do great customer service, it's not like you get a sell and you get commission off of that. But or if you're really nice to your teammate, you don't, there's really no like compensation for that, but there's a lot of value in that because you're helping employee retention and employee morale. So a lot of these like cultural things when it comes to teamwork and customer service, it has to be something where they understand the big picture. So I try to let them understand, hey, if you do well, we're going to be happy, we're going to be making more money, so let's all try to do the right things. So just by talking about it a lot, I guess, team meetings,
How often do you do
employee
those?
reviews. Well, I have a big one, which is the stats results.
Mhm.
Those are the ones I record, but the smaller ones I do weekly. And then I have a private office, but I'm always in the cubicles, or one of my desks is out there, so I'm always engaged with the employees. I'm right smack in the middle of the office, so I could pretty much hear and see what's going on. So even though it's not a meeting, I'm always having the opportunity to talk about, hey, what's the right way to think, believing in ourselves, what's the motivation, and what type of training too. So those are the type of values I like to help my agents, because that's really what I look at my job as, just strictly helping them.
Yeah. Well, you kind of threw it right back to me. Training. So that's a huge piece of what I want to talk to you about. I believe that you also utilize role play at the Olson Agency and some other sales coaching platforms to help your staff. So, can you tell us how you implement those, what you use, and how you implement those in your agency to help your staff learn how to sell?
Yeah. Well, training is just something that is, my training and motivation. That's like my number one thing I'm doing right now, as far as my job duties, how it has evolved to what it is today. But RPOA has been great. We will. I have them watch them on their own time, and then we get together and do the role play. But it has evolved, and every week is different. Every week we'll do something different. I think it's important to keep it fresh and just try different things. But I'm always thinking like, and then, daily training too, or motivation is something that I provide. And I think Jeff does a great job of being motivational, and I think that's almost how I look at my job is like almost DM-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I want to motivate and help them and train people do well. Um, but so we've done book reviews. I'll watch some motivational videos on YouTube and then I'll share with them. We'll have discussions about them. Um, Again, we'll read some books. We'll do actually more technical stuff like role play of Olsen Agency that has really helped us, grow our inside sales team, which is more about cross-selling our existing book of business. And just availability. I think that's important. And also your expertise too, because I need to know what I'm doing to be able to teach them. So I got to understand all the underwriting guidelines and, rating factors and things like that. And again, yeah, availability, so I do meetings like this, once or twice a day, but I'm here before 7 and I leave after 7. So there's they're shocked when I'm not in the office, and I DoorDash every single day. So I'm always available. I'm never in my office. So I think availability is also important one with somebody has a question. Obviously, I have other staff members that are here to help too, and we train as a team, but um, just being there for your team at the very least, I think that is something that you know, you could offer to your staff members.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your licensed staff. What are some of the expectations, the activities that you're having them do daily? What are the things that are working that are helping them generate their sales?
Yeah, well, when it comes to expectations, it's still activity and attitude. As long as you're working hard with a good attitude, I think the expectation kind of falls more on me. How many leads am I providing them? What type of duties do I have for them? What type of activities am I generating? Like sometimes I look at my job as like I have to create jobs, like I have to give them something to do, because um, when you kind of try to hold them accountable, like, hey, you're not doing enough. Sometimes a lot of times it's really what I'm not doing enough. So I'm not giving them the training, or I'm not giving them the motivation, or I'm not giving them enough leads. So I like to expect more from myself and then less from them. So when I hear the word how do I hold my staff accountable, a lot of times it's like how do I hold myself accountable? And that's really where you start finding ways to helping them get better results. So some of the things that's been working is just basically marketing.
Mhm.
You could have the most motivated, most trained staff, but if they don't have people to talk to, they're not going to be able to, close deals. And if you're in inside sales, then, when you get a call, how do you handle that? And how do you transition that to a cross sell? That also comes down to motivation and training too. So that's kind of up to me. So a lot of times I look at it like, hey, if my staff member is not doing well, then that's a direct reflection on what I'm not doing well. So taking accountability and doing more for them is kind of the way I look at it. But so marketing for them, investing in leads is super important. So they're busy, they have things to do, they have people to talk to. Having a rewarding compensation plan, that's a big part of the equation here. And yeah, I think it's really just comes down to, marketing and training and motivation. So as long as you're doing those things right, then, they're gonna want to sell. They want to make commission. So as long as your compensation plan is rewarding and you have the marketing, then there's just it's just other than that, it's just maintenance. Making sure the mindset is right and just they keep growing and they have opportunities. So I just look at it as my job is to create opportunities, and I look at their job is to take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, okay, gosh, my mind is going a million miles an hour. There's so many things I want to talk about. Okay, I also want to say I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning. Agents that are on, please feel free to chat in any questions, and I promise I won't take up all of the time asking questions. I do have enough for us to talk probably for like a month straight, Dan, but I won't do that to you. I respect your time a ton. So Okay, so you talked about holding your team accountable. Um, as far as like some of the metrics that you look at, one of the metrics that you talk to your team about, which has actually really been eye-opening for me, is it's not necessarily the call volume, which is important also, because that's the activity, but it's more so the talk time and how you're tracking that for your producers. And so, can you tell us a little bit more about how you're tracking that? What you've noticed is, I don't know, a good talk time. What are they averaging? What's getting them the results? Because, like you mentioned, you've got producers that have been with you for a really long time, and they are heavy hitters for sure. I thought we had some heavy hitters. Your agency has some heavy hitters, so it's really cool to see, and especially knowing your mindset and how you are really just helping them be great. That's really telling, but they have to do the work, right? They don't just get it handed to them necessarily. So, what tell us about the metrics of the talk time and why that's important, and maybe when you started implementing that in the metrics.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, I'm glad you brought this subject up, Shelly, because it's so important to track not just talk time, but everything. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's a part of us that all of us, have a little bit of competitiveness in us. So first of all, just knowing that it's tracked, that will make you want to like do more because you never want to be bottom of the list.
Mm-hmm.
But third of all, recognition, competition, those are part of, natural human, what makes us people. We all want to naturally win and be part of a winning team, but also win individually too. So talk time is super important because you really can't do anything, significant without getting on the phone and really having conversation about coverage and discounts and just really getting into, insurance talk. So the talk time, some of our heavy hitters were average about like, 50 hours a month. The average could be like, somewhere in around the 25. So it can make a big difference. But I see some trajectory of some agents really getting that increasing. So that's a good sign of them, having really in-depth conversations, whether it be sales or customer service. And then, so the trajectory is also important too. But the other things I also measure are just payments. That's a great one for entry-level positions, or some customer service are unlicensed because they're responsible for certain, payment lists.
Mm-hmm.
We will also track attendance. That's a big one. Um, we'll
Yeah.
track 5-star reviews, um, retention, closing ratio, a lot of sales stuff, obviously. Um, and what else is there? Yeah, attendance and payments are really, some of the most basic ones, but talk time too are important. But I feel like there's even more stuff with the capabilities we have with our, um, internet phone systems and lead management systems. There's so much you could track that you
Yeah.
could go a little bit overboard, but I think it's kind of cool where I'm sending out, stats all the time that people, agents care, they're looking at it. And then also, I think recognition is a big part of what we could do.
Absolutely.
Recognition, I mean, I genuinely appreciate them so much. Um, and it's free to recognize them and appreciate them, have meetings, make awards, um, because really there's only so much as agency owners we could do,
Mhm.
and maybe I've been there where I was selling a lot and I was talking to all the customers, but you know, together we could do so much more.
Mhm.
Um, and I really, I still look at my job as just having them succeed because it comes back to us. A lot of times, some of the ways I used to think, could be because of my ego. Hey, you work for me. This is how we do it, and looking at what I could get out of the agency, like my lifestyle, like I'm trying to take from the agency. Those are ways to end up with a smaller agency when you're just thinking about your lifestyle, where you're thinking of what can I put into the agency, what can I give to the agency. In the long run, you're gonna get back so much more. So, not that, I'm just doing it purely because I'm a nice person, but it's actually good for business to be
Yeah.
nice and give back to your agency. Because at the end, even though it's delayed gratification, it definitely comes back to you when you're taking care of your staff and your customers. It really does. It's just, and you're making some sacrifices, and personal expenses, you sacrifice and you just give back to the agency and to your staff and to marketing. It really makes a big difference in the long run. So those are the habits I really recommend agents doing. Is even though the ROI, sometimes we could look at it and say, hey, it might not look good, but I never look at a staff as expense.
Mhm.
They don't really cost us money. They make us money, really. So you just want to hire as many as you can. Anyone with a good attitude and a good activity level that could be a good fit. So that's just over time. I have learned that the math just doesn't seem like it'll work out every time I do it, but it just does. So off intuition and just, so in the beginning, it may be a little bit of leap of faith, but marketing and staffing and taking care of your staff, it definitely does pay off.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of go back to, I guess, the beginning of like the expectations and stuff. So I know I have a lot of agents on here that can feel what they're thinking sometimes, and they're like, well, when is it like time to cut them off? Like when is it just not going to work out? What is that timeline for you if you don't have, which is normal, I guess, not to have a, 6 month, you have to do this and you have to move to this next step. What are the indicators that it's just not going to work out for you? And when do you kind of pull the trigger there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, everyone's gonna know their staff better than I can, but I think the simple formula is gonna go back to activity and attitude. If they're lazy, then it's just they're not a diamond, so you can't treat them like a diamond.
Mhm.
And if they have a bad attitude, same thing. So um, those are the only, I guess, deal breakers for me. Bad attitude and bad, laziness.
Mhm.
Other than that, I almost feel like there's just some role in the agency that they could help you out with. If they're a hard worker and then, with patience, they could turn the corner because if they have good attitude and good activity, then I really believe that they could help some way. Another indicator is if you don't really like them or if you don't want to help them, because all the stuff I'm talking about is like, and that's what I look for in interviews too, because I I just really when I'm interviewing somebody or trying to make these hiring decisions, I'm thinking like, do I want to help this person? If you don't like somebody, you don't want to help them, because if you truly do want to help them, then you're going to put more effort into your to helping them, which is going to help your agency. So if you get to a certain point when you have a staff member and you're just like, I don't really want to help this person,
Mhm.
then I think it's better off for you to find somebody that you do want to help.
Yeah.
So I think those are maybe some, decision making. It's not scientific, but I just go off that because when you have people, a group of people that you really want to help, then you're gonna be okay. I'm gonna spend more on this. I'm gonna, working on Saturdays to figure this out for them. I'm gonna, do a lead management system and build automation system and have a phone tree that does this and that. And then you're just gonna be always thinking about the business because you care about your team. But if
Mhm.
you have a team that you don't really care about, then you're just not gonna be putting that effort, and in the long run, that's not helping yourself out.
Yeah, definitely. So you have, I could be wrong, but I feel like you always have two top producers in your agency that are always kind of like taking that first and second place in your office every month, or maybe staying at first place every month. But so we're talking about, how to, when you are going to get rid of staff, or maybe it's time to set, part ways. Now let's talk about the qualities of your top salespeople and what motivates them and how do you keep them engaged, because those producers have been with you for a long time, and that's super impressive. Your employee retention is very impressive for the industry for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I think the way I guess I look at it is that I work for them.
Mm-hmm.
I just that's kind of how I look at it. Like, what do you need? Like, I'm here to just provide what you need because as a manager, that's how I look at it. Like, I just as an owner, I look at it as I'm their water boy. I need to do whatever they need to be able to succeed. So some of the characteristics of them are, there's so many, but I think they're they're competitive,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, because these are the sales superstars we're talking about, because we have a lot of superstars. But when it comes to sales superstars, they're very competitive. They're very hardworking.
Mm-hmm.
They also look at things long term. They're loyal. They're also smart, which is kind of a hard one because you know that's just how they came before. You know, great communication skills. Very likable. You
Mhm.
know, not just with the team and with me, but obviously the customers, because I think sales is a big part of it. Is just how likable you are with your clients.
Mhm.
Um, Positive. Optimistic, high energy. But these are the people, I'm looking for. Is kind of like, that'd be so great because if I could find another, one of them, then I'm very happy to replicate that salary, or the commission that I'm paying for them, So it's really hard to find, and it's just a guessing game when it comes to hiring. You'll never ever know. And I think a lot of times, even though I give them all the recognition, but you know, I want to give myself a little bit of credit too.
Mhm.
Because it's a team game, and it's as an agency owner, you have so much control over how successful your staff is going to be. They're not going to do it by themselves because I poured a lot of, investing money as far as marketing and a lot of, sweat equity when it comes to training and motivating them.
Mhm.
So when you have a staff member doing well, even though I give all the praise to them, deep down I know that, hey, I did a good job here, and that's a really fulfilling feeling, once, they start buying houses and stuff like that, and their kids are living in different places than maybe they would have, going to different schools. Just the impact you're making on that is, worth more than the financial sometimes rewards that we have in this business.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I feel really good of what I'm doing, and they're really helping me not just make money but be happy.
Mhm.
So a lot of it does have to do with I guess I keep on saying it, but likability. They did so much for me, so I want to give them back. And now, they're doing working on now. My challenges are like, okay, how do I help them make more money next year? So
Yeah.
some of the things we're always doing is okay, again, them getting more help from staff, but also training them on commercial and life insurance.
Mhm.
So we always want to make sure there's, another goal for them because as soon as you stop working hard for them and if their income plateaus, then you know we may be in danger. So I'm always thinking and almost paranoid, and I'm almost competing. That I'm thinking like, okay, I got to make sure this situation is so good here that they don't go out and start their own agencies or go to a competitor. So I'm always like thinking like, what can I keep offering to them to make it um, so good that they'll stay and keep growing this thing.
Yeah, that's probably really tough after having producers for such a long amount of time, is keeping them motivated and beating year over year. It's like, for all the full time agents that are on the call that are on the new business accelerator, that monthly bonus opportunity, it's the same kind of thing, right? Your goal is to do more than you did the year before to continue to grow. What are some of those things in your agency that keep them motivated and keep them like what value are you bringing into the agency to keep them happy and keep them there?
I think you touched on it, getting them in the mindset of, hey, let's, compete against ourselves. Like, let's continue to get better. Like, I just really believe in that. I never want to settle, and that's kind of how we all should be. So no matter where you are, we're not going to compare ourselves to, somebody different, people who are in different stages of their career here. But it's all internal game where we're looking at ourselves and say, hey, well, how can I get better next year?
Mhm.
So once you get in the habit of doing that every few years, it starts becoming something that it's just automatic.
Mhm.
Like I don't even have to talk to them. Like they know they want to do better next year because it's maybe through osmosis because I'm like that. I'm just very hungry and I just want to do so much better that they kind of follow hopefully my lead. And the financial part is also too there. We talk about their goals. We talk about what they would want to do with the financial rewards, or and that totally varies with different staff members, but it is good to understand that. It is
Mhm.
really good to understand what they want because you could use that as motivation, and once it's almost like closing a deal is when you understand what the customers want and you present value from that perspective or from that angle. So understanding what your agents want, what type of lifestyle they want. Maybe it's not about money for some of them. Maybe it's lifestyle, or maybe it's just understanding, management, or maybe it's flexible work schedule or a family, work balance. So really understanding it is going to make you a better leader,
Mhm.
and really going to help them. Um, the sign on my, I guess you can't see it right there, but it says make money, be happy. So those are the two things I just want to try to help them out with. So one of the other, or hopefully both. But how do I keep them motivated is to sometimes go through the exercise together, because maybe they don't even know,
Mhm.
so every 3 months, sit down with them and say, hey, what's your goals? Getting into, maybe no one's ever asked them that. Like,
Mhm.
well, gee, let's think about it here. And then once we figure that out, then we start going, okay, now that these are your goals, then you're gonna have to work this many hours, or just make this many calls, or sell this many sales, or get licensed.
Mhm.
So, like to work backwards, understand what their goals are, and then if you help them accomplish that, then you know then I'm doing a good job. I mean, if they if I went through the exercise of what is your goal, this is what it is. Okay, got it. Okay, let's do this together as a team here, and then you help them accomplish their goal. That's really where the commitment starts coming. So I really feel like I have to give first,
Mhm.
and then they're gonna be like, okay, well, this person helped me get licensed. I didn't understand what liability meant, but now, you know we talked about my goals and I see them coming true, and he helped me.
Mhm.
Then you kind of earn the commitment back from them.
Mhm.
So I feel like the way to get commitment and to motivate them is to be motivated and be committed to them first.
Mhm.
Really can't expect them to be working from an entry level position to be all in. I just don't have those type of expectation. But once I bring value to them, then a normal good person will be like, well, this person did so much for me, I'm gonna want to help them back.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of get to that situation. It's almost like I'm guilting them into it, because I did try to do so much. But that's kind of how I look at it, and it takes some time to develop that, and it doesn't work that way for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when you find the right person and you truly truly do help them,
Mhm.
then they'll help you back.
Yeah, something that you touched on in one of your I think it was that same video of with your staff was you were asked telling them, I want to know what your goals are, but I also want to share with you what our agency goals are for next year. And you had, of course, mostly primarily business goals, but you also had some personal goals in there too that you wanted them to be aware of, maybe a new car in your future or something cool. So what are those goals? What do you have in store for your agency for next year? And why is it important to share the bigger picture of those new business goals or retention with your team to kind of prepare them for the following year?
Yeah, I just wanted to look at the big picture again. So some of the goals are leases up, so I'm looking forward to moving or expanding this office space here.
Awesome.
Um, and if my number one goal is to just have everybody here make more money,
Mhm.
because if they're doing that, that means good things are happening to our agency. Or I like to help out, because again, I look at my job as helping people. So if you're doing naturally a good thing, then I feel like I want to help more people out.
Mhm.
So that'll be great if I have, since we're expanding offices too. Well, this year we brought in like 4 new employees and we didn't lose anybody. So, next year maybe we'll hire, 5 or 6 more,
Mhm.
and then our office space will go from 3,000 to 6,000 square feet. And then, we just want to have a bunch more clients. Farmers insurance is something we truly believe in. We're offering our great products. So, and there's a lot of people in California, so we were able to talk to a lot more people,
Mhm.
make more of an impact, and talk about insurance coverage and protect their families. And we want to definitely increase our life insurance production up too. So there's so much to do, and just can't do it by ourselves. We need more team members. So I kind of want them to understand that too, because they're in the mindset of, okay, we're gonna get back to work. It's
Mhm.
gonna be a big year for us. I want to make more money too, but I want to see this team winning too. And then, when we have new team members, we're not going to look at them as competition. We're going to try to help them because we're a team here. So I just want them to know how I'm thinking all the time because, the better they understand me, then the better their intentions and their actions will be.
Mhm.
And we don't really want to have too much conflict there because, and that's what I really appreciate about them too. So one of the things I look for when I hire staff members, sometimes we say like, "Hey, I want leaders. We want leaders," but which is important. But a lot of times, some of the greatest values I have in my staff members are their followers. I say we're gonna do this, and they're like, "Okay, got it."
Mhm.
I say, "Hey, we're not working from home. We're working from the office." They're like, "No pushback." They're like, "Got it."
Mhm.
You know, it- the, that's something I value too. That's underrated with my staff members that I really appreciate is because they have faith in me that I'm making the correct business decisions.
Mhm.
So there's been, certain ones that maybe, bringing back a certain staff member that didn't work out, or, just certain things that they probably have opinions in, but, they're just going to be like, okay, well, he's produced the results so far, so I'm going to just follow him. And I think that's something that I really value too. So maybe that's something also you may want to look for when it comes to staff members is that, the good ones are the ones that really do believe in you and are going to ride with you. Um, so yeah, just that's why I want to tell them, what my thoughts are, what my goals are, um, because I don't want them to think like, oh, okay, well, just setting the expectation or standards, and it's kind of exciting, for all of us. I think it's just if I look at it as I was working somewhere, then I'll be like, oh wow, this place is kind of going someplace, and I'm
Mhm.
contributing to that. It's a good feeling. So that's again the type of value I try to bring to them is like so they could be prideful where they work at and they could be excited about the future too.
Yeah. Um, okay, so quickly again, we'll plug for anybody that hasn't seen Dan's YouTube channel or follows him on Facebook. He's always posting super valuable content. But I really want to dive into your monthly results meeting that you do with your team. So I'm assuming you do that every month, kind of pretty routinely after folio cutoff, once all the results are in. How long does it take you to prepare for that type of meeting, Dan?
Um,
A lot of numbers.
yeah, a lot of numbers. Yeah, but maybe just a good couple hours. I just get some of the data. I share, some financial information too, but that's kind of been my style is just being transparent of how much they made.
Mhm.
Um,
Like
and
in
then
commission for the month?
Yeah, in commission or even total, like how much they made hourly, once I calculate that into how many hours they work so that they could kind of get, some of the newer members could get, you know, motivated. And it's actually helped me out with recruiting too,
Mhm.
um, big time. So it's just a um, general statement, but just producing content and documenting your journey and is so good for business,
Mhm.
so, you know, letting people know what you're doing, letting people know what your thoughts are on certain things, and just posting regularly, not only agency but your own personal side. It just leads to great business because, you know, sales is just about bringing awareness because if nobody knows you, then they can't do business with you. So
Mhm.
just putting out, content out there and letting people know, see what you believe in, what your culture is about. That has really helped me with recruiting. So that's something that if you guys have a little harder time recruiting, I would say, and Shelly, you do a great job of this, is just put out tons of content.
Mhm.
Uh, but the meetings, yeah, they take about a couple hours. I like to do that on like a Sunday morning before the kids wake up and it's all quiet. So I kind of have my thoughts together. So the
Mhm.
customers and employees aren't like, coming at me from different places. So when it's quiet time, really early in the morning, just, write down, some of the stats and then what I want to share with them that month.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it's something that my staff members kind of look forward to. That's when I present them with the monthly awards too,
Mhm.
and then whatever that's on my mind that I feel like I could again bring value to them. So monthly meetings, that's something that, man, in the beginning I couldn't imagine myself just getting in, standing and talking to people. That was just, public speaking was something that I just didn't like to do. um, it, it was like the last elective I took, like the very last class I took, just because I had to just finish college. But it's something that, it helps. It makes a difference for your agency, and if you guys aren't doing it, I recommend you guys getting in front of your staff members and trying to motivate them.
Mhm.
That's the least I could do, is to try to help them believe that they could do more, because as an obligation, that I have, I feel like they have a choice where they want to work.
Yeah, totally.
So if they chose to work for me, then I feel obligated and responsible, like, hey, I gotta, like, deliver and not take that lightly, and say, hey, if you choose to work for me, then I gotta help you out, at least motivate you, at least train you, and at least, put you in a position to win. If they, whatever they do with it, that's kind of up to them, but at least I did my part. So I look at it as an opportunity, but an obligation to get up there, tell them how our agency is doing and what we need to do to get to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Who or what are some of the resources, or who are some of the people that you kind of pull that motivational content from, in order to kind of deliver that to your team?
Yeah,
Any advice? Any people that my team can maybe look into or connect with?
there's so many good people online on YouTube, and that's, I spent a lot of time. I used to watch so much, other content, but now I just try to, like, even when I'm driving in the car, I used to listen to a lot of music, and I, watch a lot of sports, but now I'm just like, hey, there's so much value out there on YouTube. So some of the people I would say, are, well, Grant Cardone, I've been a big fan of.
Mhm.
10X Rule, that book really made a big difference. Even new staff members, we read that book together. So we have a new group that's reading that right now, a group of like
Nice.
four of us. I think Gary Vaynerchuk also has made a big difference for me, as far as, some of the stuff I look at as far as patience and like gratitude. I
Mhm.
think I got a lot from him. Um, um, Brad Lee is also another. He does more podcasts, but he also brings a lot of value when it comes to, business, valuetainment, with Patrick Bet David. But I just follow all those guys on social media too,
Mhm.
because, what you watch and who you follow really influences you. So I like to just have just, positive information, and they're almost like, I haven't met any of these guys, but they're like my mentors.
Yeah.
It's like I know if they're in a certain situation how they're reacting. So the blueprint is out there for successful people. So the technology has made it so much easier for us to learn from each other.
Mhm.
And that, in a weird way, they inspire me so much that I kind of want to, be like them a little bit by, producing content. And if I'm
Mhm.
helping any agents out here for a little bit, then I feel good about, what I'm doing. So, producing content, and really consuming the positive stuff out there.
Mhm.
And everyone's gonna have different styles, so if you rather, there's so many of them that if you just look for good stuff, you're gonna find positive stuff. If you're looking for sales right now, you're gonna find sales stuff. If you're looking for marketing right now, you're gonna be marketing stuff. There's something online right now that's gonna help you.
Mhm.
So all we have to do is sometimes search for it, but sometimes we rather watch, you know, the whole season of a series we already saw. So it's just,
Yeah.
what you want to do with your time, that determines, what you get out of your time.
A kind of a follow-up question to that. For some of my newer agents, some of my proteges, who are some farmers agents that maybe you would recommend other agents following or maybe looking up to, as far as maybe they're a PC agent or what kind of leadership they have? Is there anyone that you would recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend just positive ones.
Mhm.
They necessarily don't have to be, uh, a certain status. I think sometimes there's something to say if they're kind of at similar levels at you at your journey, so you can relate to each other. Because it's kind of unrealistic, and maybe, warning, if you call me, then I might not be able to take your call. you know so it may be, difficult to reach out to a PC agent and expect them to take their time to mentor you,
Mhm.
because they're busy growing their own agency. But maybe an agency just really audit, the agents that you're spending time with and talking to, and make sure they're positive.
Mhm.
Make sure they're grateful for the opportunity, and make sure, they have the right trajectory, because that's going to influence you big time on how you look at things, because there's a lot of other agents out there, even even who you follow. I sometimes audit, like, okay, who am I following? But a lot of connections you could be made on social media, which is great.
Mhm.
But sounds like, I've seen your guys' district have a really tight knit group. But an agent that's doing a little bit better, reach out to them. That's in your area. I think that's great. And then, offer your time to maybe other agents that want to get to your level. So spend some time with those too, not just agents that can help you, but give back to those agents, because sometimes when you're helping somebody else, you're actually helping yourself because you're reinforcing what you should be doing. So mix both up, but it's just going to be through serendipity who you have able to make a relationship with. Um, but in general, it's easy to request friendship and then, follow. I mean, there's some monster agents at your district like Sammy and Meg,
Mhm.
who, who I really value their relationship, and, so much I learned from them already.
Mhm.
Um, but the value exchange has to kind of be there. So if you could help them out with something, then they'll be more willing to help you out. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of times when you're in a similar situation with another agent and you could help them out, then I think there's a lot you could learn from each other.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we have just a few minutes left. I'm going to soak up every second of this. So if you have questions, please chat them in as our time is dwindling down. I do have kind of a separate type of question for really for all agencies, especially the newer ones that are in their first few years, that are trying to grow new business year over year, build up those renewals. But this question really is about the full-time agents and the full-time agent program, the accelerator. What are some tips that you have, some advice for growing that new business year over year, and how you see the opportunity that Farmers has put in front of you for next year?
Yeah, I think for full-time agents, there's going to be certain things that's working, and I would just double down on that. Whatever you must, have a system to get this far, that, certain, product line or certain niche that you're comfortable in, just double down on that. Whatever that's working for you, just do more of for now.
Mhm.
I think that's the easiest way to scale your agency. And hopefully that's based on a marketing strategy that's scalable, meaning that you can spend more money on it,
Mhm.
to get more results. So basically, if you spend more money on that, then you'll get more leads. And then if you have more leads, then you're going to have to get more staff. So I think it all starts with marketing. So, I would think, okay, what's working for me right now? I will look at your sales from last year and say, hey, this is how I got all of these sales. Hopefully you have a lead management system that kind of lets you know where you're getting these sales from. And
Yeah.
whatever the activity is, do more of that, and sell more of that. There's so many products that we are able to offer. There's going to be something that you feel very comfortable in. Also, your territory, your location is competitive in. There's going to be a certain product or line or niche that you're strong in.
Mhm.
So, A, get it really clear cut what that is, and then B, really go after that harder, and pour more energy into that. I think is the best way to grow. And then you still want to spend some resources and time and effort on adding some different things that you could do to your agency. But I think sometimes agencies may try to diversify a little bit too much too soon, and they're not really squeezing everything they can out of what they're really good at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Was
great.
that second part of your question, Shelly?
Yeah,
These
that
questions are
was.
so great. I think it's
Oh, thanks.
you always um, I could really tell. You really want to help out your agents. That's always something that I really, really uh, you know respect and admire about you, is that you are always trying to figure out ways to help out your agents. And I think these questions, hopefully, you laid them up for me, so we'll all could have a better year next year.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so thankful for our friendship, Dan. Thank you for your time. Thank you to my agents and my team for being on, taking time out on folio cutoff day. Sorry, I did not really think that through when we planned it. I'm so sorry. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. Dan, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, it's just Dan Kitajima. So, that's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. It's just all just under my name. Um, yeah, so I really appreciate the plug, Shelly. I should be doing this more. I'm supposed to say subscribe and like all the time, but I'm not like a YouTuber. I'm just an insurance agent.
Great one with
Um,
that for sure. So everyone go follow. I promise it's excellent content. I don't tell Dan this, but I do watch his videos often. I get a lot of great information from it. If I've met with you and had a one-on-one, I've probably mentioned something regarding Dan at some point, and referencing his agency and how his mindset has helped his agency grow. Because at
oh,
the end of the day, that is like exactly what it is. So I hope that you got some golden nuggets from this. Thank you again, Dan. And I can't wait for the next one.
yeah, same here, Shelly. So yeah, everybody out there, staff success, let's go back and think about, okay, how can I help my staff next year? Because that's what's going to help us. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Shelly, for having me, in the
Anytime.
district, and please say hi to Jeff and everybody. But you guys have such a great team. The opportunity is great. So yeah, let's get it and stay hungry in 2020.
Let's do it. Bye,
All
guys.
right.
Have
Thank
a
you
great
guys.
day.